Yo, what it do, 2K fans? Your boy JuKIng the Boss. Now, usually when I start a video off like that, it means I'm gonna talk a little 2K news. Now, there's nothing that warranted me really dropping a whole video on 2K20 just yet because it's not enough come across my desk. As much as I love the cover art for the Legend Edition and the Standard Edition, I'm not really gonna focus on that just yet. We will have 2K20 content coming out as soon as more information is being revealed. You know, I'm gonna break it down and give you my whole analysis of it. But instead, I want to talk to y'all about what we could expect from the next generation of 2K, because we've seen them utilize that term a lot in the past day or so, or past couple of days, when it came down to unveiling the cover stars for both the Standard and the Legend Edition. We kept seeing the word next generation of superstars, next generation of NBA players, next generation of NBA 2K. So I want to talk about the true next generation of NBA 2K. Every year, we look forward to seeing what NBA 2K does when it comes down to improving the product. Some are minor, very few are major, but is it enough to warrant that $60 tag we spend every year? I don't think so, no. But they have to make continued revenue somehow, and we're always going to be looking to enjoy the next level of NBA 2K basketball. So we get what we get. Now, with the next generation of consoles set to release holiday 2020, I believe that Sony and Microsoft are really setting up developers and publishers with the golden opportunity to change the way we consume the video games. With things like Google Stadia and the fact that cloud gaming is about to become a really big thing. It's not new, but it's about to become a big thing, especially because Xbox and PlayStation are incorporating it with their next gen hardware in an even bigger way than ever. So things like this, why are they important to NBA 2K franchise? So let's look at a game like Rainbow Six Siege. When it was first released, there wasn't much content when it first came out, but over time the game improved and we saw an uptick in users because of post-launch content. Adding new characters, weapons, maps kept players engaged since 2015. Games like Fortnite, I'm not trying to use Fortnite because it's a free-to-play game, whereas opposed to Rainbow Six is a paid game, and the way they did the post-launch content was a whole lot. It was executed a lot better, mainly because it, like I said, you talking about a paid game versus a free to play game. Like there's no knock on it, but it's just how it is. So how can NBA 2K utilize these kind of tactics moving forward? So first, we're going to look at it as the games as a service foundation that 2K could lay down. So in creating 2K as a games as a service would allow for a far longer, more stretched out game development cycle between the iterations of the product. Adding things like official rookie classes, rosters, arena designs, logo changes, rule changes, affiliated partners, animations, music, and even retro arenas are ways that they could utilize the foundation model. These things would refresh the game every year, all while keeping your fan base invested. This would actually also increase the VC sales without having to increase the price of VC. Now, we'll talk about price points later, but if you knew that the NBA 2K that you were buying would be playable for 3 years, would you buy it on day one? Now, for some of you, the answer is going to be a hard yes. Like that would be an improvement all in all. But some of you probably say, nah, not just right away. I'd have to see, how the game is, how it plays, the online, all of that before I still invest, because I'd rather wait to buy the product when it's fixed, because it still wouldn't hurt you, because the simple fact is that that even if you bought it in January, it's still good for another 2.5 years. And you might be more comfortable with what they've done by then. So I look at it and say that it'd be a harder yes for a majority as opposed to a minority. It'd be a less likely chance that people are waiting until the game is on dirt cheap sale because of everything we're going to mention down the line. So what could we expect from a games as a service? So the 2K formula usually sees a major change every 3 years. So with game modes like My Career, My Team, and My League, there are a lot of ways to play 2K. Sometimes it doesn't feel like there's enough time when you look at the amount of time you got to put into each game mode, especially if you want to be able to try the whole game out. So if the development teams behind each mode could utilize a 3-year cycle, adding content while at the same time being able to slowly but surely work on the new game, we could see a refreshing new NBA 2K every few years. So how would each mode help keep their respective player base entertained while also adding and pulling new players in and allowing them to enjoy themselves. Well, let's dive into that. All right. So like I said, this is going to be a pretty long video. We're going to try to keep it as short as we possibly can, but I want to make sure I give you all of the information. And by the time I'm done down the line, if they were to follow this like word for word, or at least make the adjustments, use this as an overview of how they could build the games as a service, we could effectively years from now look at this and say this was the blueprint that changed the landscape of 2K and sports games in general, with their non-seasonal commitments all of a sudden, and instead going for a longer term product. So let's dive into it. Focus on the individual building of your custom My Player. That's what my career is. There's a lot that can be done with that, though, that would make my career last over, or at least 3 years. I would say over 3 years, but at least 3 years, that'll keep the player base coming back and then allow them to invest in a new product. So first of all, we look at seasonal content. Now, seasonal content will be everything that's included, and we'll talk about that. I know you hear season pass and already like, yep, that's already something you lock behind a paywall. We'll get to how that works later on. My career could have a story that feels more dynamic. Now, if they were release episodes, okay, episodes could be the first episode that comes with the game would be high school to the pros. So it's essentially your road to the pros. Let's call it that, more so road to the pros. And it could be the path that you take. It could be a couple of different paths that are available, whether it is, you play well in high school, you play well in the college games, and then, you got drafted to a team, or you could say you might want to take the longer route, play overseas, see other environments, see other kinds of teams, see other kinds of leagues. Or maybe you just, you play street ball until one day you get a call up to play in the G League, and they could incorporate those kind of things. And that could be your choice of which way you want to go. Then if you look at it and say, let's say the end of that NBA season is over, that championship, the finals is over, and we getting ready to get started on the next NBA season. By that time, the next level of content could come out. The next episode, which would be chasing records. This update would allow for you to say, okay, this is the record that I want to chase this season. And so look at it like how Madden used to do it with their connected careers. I don't know if they still do it that way, but Madden used to have it where whatever position you played, you got to choose like a season goal for yourself. And that's the goal that you were trying to get. And there were levels to that goal. So there was, you could, like, if I always played middle linebacker. And so I could say, okay, I'm going to try to get 10 tackles or 15 tackles this season. And based on where I was ranked on the team and where I was in the roster, that would be a easy goal, or it'd be a very hard goal. But the harder the goal, the more the rewards were. So if you have a chasing records addition that then says, okay, you set a season goal, then if you complete that goal, the harder that goal is for you to complete, the more experience points you can get. Don't get me wrong, I want them to throw some VC at me too, but the experience points would be what matters more, because you can always get your coins up, but being able to unlock your cap breakers, allowing for a better, smoother road to 99, more ways to get to that 99. Now, I'm not saying get rid of 99, because we're going to talk about how to adjust 99 later on in just a few. Then the final season, though, we could call that leaving your mark. That's when it's all about how many titles you won and how much you changed the game and impacted the game as a player. That right there is so much open-endedness that can be done with that. But usually by the time that the third season or the third season content would come around, people would have already probably played 5-10 years in the NBA. If they played my career a lot, they probably would have already played 5 or 10 years or 15-20 years, depending on how much they play. But with this level of seasonal content, episodic content, you could at least allow people to play at their own pace. There's something else that'll allow them to play at their own pace, and we're about to jump on that. But the next thing would be my career moments. So similar to my team, these could be certain in-season moments that have been completed by current NBA players or past players that your goal is to recreate with your My Player. This would add another direct connection to what's going on in the game, what's going on in the NBA, and allow players to be more connected with their game. Also adding a bonus experience toward cap breakers. Now, with these moments could be something that come out dynamically. So let's say, for instance, if you're playing in the playoffs, and all of a sudden you're down 3-0, something that no team has ever come back from, an actual 3-0 deficit, and now you got a dynamic moment where it'll say, okay, make the comeback, win the next 4 games straight. And based on the difficulty level you play on, that'll multiply how much experience you earn. But it'll say, okay, make the 4-game comeback and win this series. You'll get, let's say, let me give you an example. Let's say 250,000 experience points. That right there is a big boost to your cap breakers, alongside the addition of what it would do to the points that you're earning in game. So right then and there, you're earning your VC, you're earning cap breakers, and now you got a reason to play. You got some cats who'll cheese that and be like, they'll go out there with the goal of taking L's so that way they can come back from 3-0. But then you modify it so that way when a player is known for doing that, it's less rewarding, you know. Having things like being rewarded more so for blocks throughout the course of the season, more difficult tasks, in-season goals. These things would be a whole lot of an addition, and they can multiply that and change that dynamically throughout the course of the life. Now, we're going to talk about cap breakers. This is one way that I truly believe that you can really just make 2K last for 3 years. So once you hit 99, you're pretty much done. You know, once you got all your badges unlocked and you hit 99, you've hit the pinnacle of the 2K ladder. But what if they introduce something more along the lines of respect, or what's they call it? They call it prestiging in shooters, right? So essentially, when you hit your 99, which is already a tough task to do, but if you add these other things that I just mentioned in my career, you already kind of minimize the effect of how long it's going to take you. So during the first year, let's say the 21-22 season, 20 to 21. So let's say when the game come out in the holidays of next year, during that first NBA season, because it's all tied to the NBA, during that first NBA season, you can only get to 99 once, right? Not across all players. Just like once you get your build to 99, then he's at max. But once the start of the next season, the next NBA season comes up, you can then start to go up to your cap break again. You can respec. So how would respecing or prestiging work? This, first of all, would allow you to push your 99 overall beyond the 99 overall in 2K's current status and get closer to a real 99 overall. Example, once you hit 99 overall, you can prestige. Starting back at 85, you would keep your badges though, and you would be given points, enough points to assign to your player that will make him or her an 85. You can choose where you spend those points and everything like that. The biggest difference, though, is that you would earn a few more cap breakers on your second road to 99, meaning that a tier 2 99 overall is a little better than a tier 1 99 overall. And then you got one more tier when the next season start, and that'll get you closest to a real 99 overall. So let's say, for instance, if the first time you cap out at 99 overall, your ball handling could go up to 86. Then the second time you cap off the 99 overall, your ball handling will go up to about 92 or 93. Maybe not such a big jump, but maybe like 91, 92. Right. And then the third time it can go up to like 95, 96. Then you got those who would push themselves to hit that third cap, because then they could be the build they want to build, be the true superstar they want to be playing my career. Or even if you're playing in park, some people might find that unfair. You know, you find yourself to be a tier 1, 80 going up against a tier 2 95. That's a beast of a difference right there. But for the players who really truly grind out to get to that 99, it would give them more staple to get there. It'll give them a bigger push to get there. And it, like I said, these cap breakers, when it comes down to prestiging, wouldn't just be available once you hit that 99 overall. It'll be at the start of the next season. So you hit your tier 2 99 overall. You can start on the road to the second tier 99 overall the second season. And then the third season, you can start on your third and final tier of 99 overall. First of all, it means that when people do get to 99, they'll be able to enjoy themselves at 99 a little bit before, the next 2K come out. Second of all, it does increase, like I said, it will increase the investment in VC to a certain extent, because people will feel that they're investing in a product that is going to be around for a little while. You don't like going over to the next 2K and having VC left over on your old 2K. that could be a way to improve it in just the my career aspect. All right, so I hope y'all still with me. We're going to talk a little my team. Now, some of you might not play my team. I play a little bit. I ain't no hardcore my team player, but I play enough just so that way I was able to kind of look into a way that could extend the life of my team over a couple of seasons. I think I might have found a few key pieces. So first of all, let's look at it like this. Each year, my team gets a feature overhaul and a little bit of a facelift. So players new to my team would be less likely to fear the complex and daunting look of the menus, and I'm speaking from experience, if they knew that this would be the look over 3 years. Now, I'm not going to talk about features to improve my team. That's for the vets that play it. Instead, I'll look at the benefits of a 3-year life. So first of all, we would adjust what moments cards are. Look at the first year. Moments cards would have a better meaning and importance in lineups. Things like Galaxy Opals will have a better meaning. Now, before we get to the Galaxy Opals, let's look at the moments. So let's say, for instance, if you got a Pascal Siakam moments card from game 1 of the finals this year, and he has a 92, 93 overall, right? And next year he starts the season with an 85, 86 overall. You would prefer to have your moments card from last year as opposed to the overall starter edition of this year. Now, don't get me wrong, you can grind it and get them better. But let's say, for instance, if Pascal Siakam has a declining year. So everybody has off seasons, you know, and the players that you had in your lineup last year were phenomenal are kind of like they're obsolete this year. You don't want that. You know, so it'd be good to be able to have a 3-year lifespan. So that way, even when the new NBA season start, players that go up and down won't affect how your lineup comes out. But the players that start to really shine and take another step up, it will make for an even more depth lineup, a more depth roster. So the next thing I'm looking at is the Galaxy Opals. Everybody has a Galaxy Opal version for some odd reason. So with this new framework of 2K, every NBA player wouldn't have a Galaxy Opal version. Instead, at the end of each NBA season, each player who won an award would have a Galaxy Opal version. Maybe people who shined in the finals would have a Galaxy Opal, and they really got to shine. Like, you can't just play on the finals team and get a Galaxy Opal. You got to shine and to get that Galaxy Opal. Or maybe just the players who won an awards and the players who, you know, maybe like one player of the week for, you know, 4 or 5 weeks in a row, little things like that. Like, even then, like, you still kind of got to take a little back seat off of everybody getting the Galaxy Opal, but you could give it to like legends, like you know, old school legends, a couple of new school legendary players. You know, we can all expect that there's going to be a Dwayne Wade Galaxy Opal somewhere in there somewhere, but I think that it really just needs to be Galaxy Opals are brought down a little bit to mean, so that way they mean more. So if you knew that Galaxy Opal versions would be only given to the players who won end of the season awards and the players from the past, you know, the past greats, that makes your Galaxy Opal version more rare. And each season, because that could change, your Galaxy Opals would be worth more in value. Plus, it means that those who played my team all season, you know, when a new season starts, they don't feel like they have to grind it all over again. Some people don't mind it. Some people enjoy it. And that's cool. That's great. That's awesome. I start over 2 or 3 different my career characters just because I don't mind the grind all the way up to 90, because sometimes it's the path to get to there. It's the road there that's fun for me. But I would love to see more Galaxy Opal means more, and just having my team expand over 3 years, it means that the cards can change in value, means that your old lineup could have even more value. Like, you ever look at some of you that play my team, you go back and look at the my team roster you had last year and look like, damn, the value of this roster is a whole lot better than the value of the roster I got this year. So I would love to see the creation of better value. Now here's the thing. Give you a perfect example. If players knew that the only way to pull a Galaxy Opal was from these packs, and mind you, just because Galaxy Opals are more rare, from these specific packs or these challenges, some of them will be more inclined to purchase VC, especially if they won't have time to complete the challenges, because the value of the card could go up next year. You know, the value of this Pascal Siakam, the value of this Giannis card could go up next year because the simple fact is these cards in general, they're starters, the value of them might go down. And just to point out to you a very specific and very easy comparison, look at it like this. If everybody had a Lamborghini, the value of the Lamborghini would be low. But because not everybody has one, it's one of those things where you see it and it's like, wow, that's kind of fly right there. I would love to have one of those. But if everybody got one, there's no reason to have one. So I would love to see my team take some small leaps that could increase the longevity of my team by reducing Galaxy Opals. And this is something that could be done. Now, I know some of y'all look at this and it's like, damn, these are things that could go in this year's my career. But I'm not looking at this year's NBA 2K. Wow. I'm not looking at this year's NBA 2K. I'm looking at the 2K for the future, the framework for being able to update this game over the course of 3 years while working on the next product, giving us a better product. And each time the new one come out, you look forward to it because you really feel like you got the value out of the game that you bought. All right, so now we're going to jump back to the park a little bit, okay? The My Career park, all right? Now, the park is probably the biggest part of the My Career experience because it has shorter games, smaller teams. This multiplayer mode can be used as the ultimate catalyst for newcomers and returning users. Now, and I did a video a while back about how to decrease latency and improve connections in the neighborhood in the park, but that's not what we're going to talk about. Instead, I'll leave a little card up above for you to go check that video out. Instead, what we're going to talk about is the longevity of the park for a 3-year lifespan. OK, now this is the easiest thing to do, not the easiest as in it's easy to say on paper. It's not guaranteed the easiest thing to execute. But with these few features, we can give it a little love all year and the next year and the year after that. So let's first look at the events. 2K19 had quite a few different events. Some were community competitive. Others were community cooperative. So a simple, not easy expansion on that would be daily, weekly, and monthly events. Now, we had daily challenges, but daily, weekly, and monthly events. Now, I found myself not being able to compete in the events because I usually had to work while these events were happening. Adding more layers to events mean that every player can grind at the times more suitable for them. And so to give you a perfect example, let's say, for instance, for the weekly event, I know that I won't be able to win the weekly event, but I can improve my standing a whole lot better. This means that tier-based rewards would be a lot more accessible. You know, right now, all the events are like this. Hey, top 10 win this. Everybody else, you just get participation. Now, I'm not saying that number one should get the same thing as everybody else. What I'm saying is, you know, maybe 1 through 5, you know, they get the highest tier, you know, 10 through 25 get the next tier, you know, 26 to 50 get the next tier, like the top 100, because there are a lot of players playing park games. So the top 100 will get, you know, the best. And it all just goes up. Then everything below that will get smaller rewards, but everything feels like you are at least competing for something. You are competing for something more than just a participation. Like if I know that all I'm competing for is a participation, as long as I get one game in, I'm good. I'm gonna get my little 2,500 VC and call it a day. But if you tell me that, hey, look, if you can get in, you know, 50 games, then, you know, we can give you, you'll get this much. It's like, oh, okay, let me try to get them 50 in then because I at least want that, you know. The next layer that we could add would be park tournaments. Now, I've talked about this for the past couple of years when it came down to it. When they first introduced the neighborhood, I said I would love to see them bring in park tournaments. And I don't mean sort of like some of these events feel where it's just a ranking system. Now, I mean like legit park tournaments. When they reintroduced crews in 2K19, they really didn't do too much there except for they had a couple of crew specific events. But the best way to improve on that would be crew tournaments. Like I said, not the top dog style or the crew v crew style, but an actual elimination based tournament. Now they could use that as, okay, crews are the only people that compete in these, but having a monthly tournament where crews compete against each other for, you know, and it's an elimination style thing and they have a big monetary kind of setting where it's like, hey, the top crew gonna win this. The runners up gonna win this. The people that finish in third will win this. I would love to see that, because what happens is those monthly tournaments would keep people not just coming back, but it'll keep them playing. Because you don't want your stick skills to get rusty. If you lose this tournament, you want to be able to jump into the next one. You want to be ready. So you run more with your crew. And then at the end of each season, all the winners can compete in an invite-only tourney for even bigger prizes. More clout, more recognition, like a true, staple at the top of the mountain. Some might believe it's not inclusive to all, but I look at it like this. When I go to the park, if I'm going to play with randoms, I'm going to play with randoms. I'm going to take what comes with it. But I do have people that I play with more so on the regular, that if we have the time, we can get together as a crew and we'll play, and some people might feel that that's not really cool, that there's a tournament that crews can invest in and you can't get in one. But if you just got two buddies, you can easily get in on it. You can easily get in on that. And people think that, oh, my friend is a trash. You got to get better with them. You can't just be like, oh, I'm a beast and they are trash. If y'all don't know how to really play off each other, you can never succeed. So having just these little park tournaments could be a way to truly engage the community if you're doing it once a month, or even if you could do twice a month. But I would say at least once a month, once every other month, something like that, just to keep the numbers down. But it keeps people coming back. The next thing is the final piece, of course, would be adding new parks. And I'm not talking about replacing the park. So I'm not talking about every year you change the park up. No, I mean, you start off with a few different park themes. And then once a season, 2K adds 1 or 2 new parks to the mix. Now, the reason why I say once a season, because at first I originally said every 6 months. The reason why I say once a season is because now you going into the next year with a couple of new parks to play at. There are parks that people just love to play at in the old 2Ks. Even when River City won the tournament, I think back in 2K16, 2K15, when they won it. And I think, no, matter of fact, 2K16, because I think Sunset won it in 2K15. When they won it and they was awarded a brand new park, everybody went to the brand new park. But then there were those who who reverted back to going to the older parks because they liked those parks a little bit more, or they wanted to mix it up when it came down to the park look. So you could easily see them just saying, okay, for the next 3 years, we're going to add a total of 6 additional parks to the 3 that we had, which means that by the time the third season rolls around, you have 12 parks. And then you can release these parks in waves. So even if you decide to do 2 new parks a season, you don't have to release them both at one time. You can release them, in waves. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about Pro-Am. It's not much there, but let's jump into some Pro-Am. So the Pro-Am is the bread and butter of the 2K League. After all, it's where their talent pool lives and breathes. Small additions to Pro-Am could make it last for a few years, and all of these changes would improve the 2K League's views and give hopefuls a better fighting chance when it comes down to trying to find a way to stand out. So first thing I would do is add Pro-Am seasons. Now, right then and there, you're already telling yourself that means we're going to do this at least 3 times in the product. So this would be a modified format of the combine where every game is counted toward season standings. So this is how that should work. Now, essentially, if the start of the season, when I say it's a modified version of the combine, I mean that there are certain dates where these games would count. So it wouldn't be like, oh, all through the month of June. No, like if you're playing and we're talking about the first part of the season is in, let's say, October, and it's like 10 dates in October that the games count. And so playing during those play windows would allow you to kind of like move up the standings. That means, so that way people who are playing 2K Pro-Am just to play Pro-Am, people are playing Pro-Am to play in their own little separate leagues that that a lot of people are creating. It wouldn't be the same as the Combine Pro-Am. Now, the reason why this would also be a modified format of it would be because it means that these stats and these records are tracked a whole lot more detailed. And it's less about, oh, this team has 3,000 wins and everything like that. And more so the details behind the wins, the details behind the losses. I know it's a lot of data for them to track, but it does shine a light on a better situation. Instead of having all of this information being doled out in one cluster, you can kind of spread it out, because you have those who will play in that first part of the season. So they'll play in October, and then the second part of the season would be in, let's say, February, and you got people who wouldn't play in that during that February. Now you kind of eliminated, because they eliminated themselves. You kind of eliminated a small factor of people that wasn't really playing to, try to compete in the league. They were just playing because they wanted to play against some competition. But now they got their own things that they're doing, so it's no longer a reason for them to play in that. Now, at the end of the season, let's say May is the end of the season, an elimination style tourney can be held for the top 100 teams. This will help create exposure for the league, exposure for those who are looking to be a part of it. Now, like I said, that's the first and that's the biggest change that I would make to Pro-Am moving forward. And you can span it over 3 years, because now people know exactly what to expect from the format. People know exactly what to expect from the skill. People know exactly what to expect from the competition, how hard people are going to bring it, how much people are going to really truly want it, and how to balance out the difference between those who truly want it and those who kind of sort of want it. But at the same exact time, what you can do is that when you got your combine that rolls around and people are actually looking to compete, you already then kind of dwindled down the talent pool, because now you're more so going to invite those who truly want to work, and those who are there just to mess up others' rec they wouldn't even get the invite to try the 2K League combine when it comes down to trying to get on the drafting board of some team, get in the eyes of some team. So next we're going to talk about Pro-Am events. Now, unlike seasons, the events would happen periodically. So a few times a month, maybe I say maybe 3 times a month, once a week, something like that. Or even just twice a month, every other week. And here's the thing about those. They wouldn't be similar. They would be similar, but not completely like park events. But these events would offer greater amounts of VC and experience. So essentially, event examples could be college rules, where, of course, you play using college style rules, 2 halves instead of 4 quarters. 40-second shot clock is still 40-second shot clock, right? 40-second shot clock or 30-second shot clock. You can expand the shot clock. You can shorten the shot clock to match a different format of the game of basketball. Then you got 2K League rules where you play on 6 or 7 minute quarters, whereas instead of the 5-minute quarters. Then you got street rules where I won't say that it boils down to like the game's going to 21. I want to say that where they unlock the street packages available, so that way you can use those packages in Pro-Am. That's the little wacky joint. Y'all can ignore that one altogether. But having the different format of rules, like even instead of going, you can do regulation rules. And some people would try it out only once and they say, oh, no, I'm not playing no game for 48 minutes like that, where you run a 12-minute quarter game or even a 10-minute quarter game. And just people to be out there trying to score 300, 400 points a game. But like I said, you change it up and do these events. You give people more of a reason to go play Pro-Am. Like I know they did double XP a few times this season, but it'd be great to have better events and a better highlight to those events instead of me just finding out random. Oh, Pro-Am got double XP. Let me go ahead and jump in Pro-Am. Having these events give people more of a reason to go play Pro-Am. So you don't have the people who just trying to grind out in park deciding to go play Pro-Am because Pro-Am got some double XP going on. All right, so next we're going to talk about my GM or my league. Okay, now I just got back into really trying to play some my GM, and it was kind of difficult because the story is so long to get to the first season. It is so much to do to get to the first season, but my GM, it might not be the biggest part, but it does play an important decision and an important role in the community. A lot of people who play my GM, and there's so many YouTubers and so many different personalities, influencers that I've watched do different things with my GM and my league that I thought was pretty cool. So you might get cats who are all about rebuilding a franchise with decisions that they decide to make, and you got people that add the fantasy layer to it and say, okay, look, we're gonna turn off salary cap because we're gonna pretend like I got all this money and I get to just throw this money at the team and see exactly if I can turn them into winners. Okay, so now the ability to rebuild teams, include these fantasy rosters, old school rosters, redesign the NBA, whichever way you want. There's so much that they can do over 3 years that make my GM and my league keep you glued for that amount of time. So my GM could have a different story each season, kind of like what they're doing now. I would like shorter dialogues when it come down to text-based dialogues, because there'd be a lot of stuff there sometimes. And some of that, I read some of that dialogue, it really isn't important at all. You know, like sometimes it'd be a hee-haw and a whoop-de-dah. And it's like, brother, you really could have gone without telling me that. But I'm getting off track. So the first season could continue the current story of my GM, the next level. The second season could be about building a franchise from the past. Okay. And like I said, look at the format that I was talking about with my career early in the article. These could be things that are available at the end or the beginning of the new NBA season. And then you got your final season, which could be about expanding your NBA to include global teams. Matter of fact, if you really just look at it like the current setup right now, they could really take the fact that they're including WNBA teams and allow you to manage WNBA teams within there, and then over layers, give you more missions and more goals that'll just be about improving maybe WNBA stock, improving viewership, finding ways to advance the game, finding ways to change the game up, maybe add new layers. There's not too much when it comes down to I could give you a story about my GM mode, okay, because I just got back into it. But when it comes down to the game mode itself, things like adding international leagues, and they don't even have to be the actual international leagues, because we wouldn't want 2K to have to go and shell out all this money to get the copyrights for those leagues, and then we have to pay the money for those leagues, you know, unless there's somebody who's okay with that themselves. I mean, I personally am not. But having international leagues where we can change up international league rules, we could be owners trying to buy up teams and everything, and increase our own stock. Having a story that surrounds that being a part of the integral NBA2K My GM formula could add to it. And like I said, I've been enjoying my team, so it's not too much that I can add to it because I'm just getting past all the story. But one thing I will say is that there are so many ways that they can layer more content on top of my team, on top of my league, on top of my GM, that would extend you wanting to play that for the entire 3 seasons. You know, a lot of people who start my league online, they don't get a chance to truly finish it. But to be able to pace it out and space it out, a lot of people are trying to get a lot done within 1 season of NBA 2K's life cycle. But having it over 3 years, all of these game modes will be allowed to space out. Each gamer is allowed to play at their own pace. The My Team community would literally be on their grind when the new cards drop. And instead of not being able to enjoy the experience of earning these cards and this, that, and the other, they got to just be on it, because they're trying to stay above and stay ahead and get to the end quicker. Same thing with, like I said, with my career players who are striving to get to that 99, they grind it out so quick. You're going to still have a few that's going to try to get to that 99 first and get to that 99 quick and get to that 99 by the end of the second month. And there's no problem with that. But for the rest of the community, you can look at it and say, well, we're giving you enough content that you can space over this entire season. And then when the next season comes out, we're just going to be adding content to the current game that you have. Now, there are other little pieces that we're about to talk about now as we talk about how this is all going to work. So how can this work? I mean, when you look at all this content that I'm talking about adding, and I'm talking about spacing it out over 3 years, how would 2K monetize this game? Would they increase the price of VC? No. They probably would, but no. Would they make the game cost more? No. Outside of the standard, deluxe, and legendary edition. Lock everything behind a paywall? Not everything. And boom, that's where all y'all get mad at. See, hear me out though. Before you raise your pitchforks and storm the castles, I want you to hear me. So first of all, the base price of the game wouldn't change. Instead, the different editions would have a better value over time. So your standard edition would be your $60 available on release date, 5,000 VC. And then you got your deluxe and legendary edition, which would be $80 and $100 respectively. The deluxe edition would add the 35K VC, and legendary edition would add the 100K VC. But both of these editions would come with the season pass and all the little extra My Team stuff that, you know, for those who like to play the My Team, all the little extra My Team bonuses that we currently get. But you heard season pass. You probably want to know what's in the season pass. Now, first of all, the deluxe and legendary edition, I would say would get an early access. Now we're blessed right now because it doesn't look like any of these games are going to get early access for 2K20. But this is only reason why I would make it an early access kind of thing, because like I said, you're still going to get this content. So let's dive into the season pass. The season pass would essentially just give you early access, maybe just a week, to all future content updates, like rookie classes, not the roster updates, just the rookie classes. And when I say that, I'm talking about the rookie picture, their stats from college, you know, all of the, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that people still can't create this content themselves, but you won't have the official picture. Instead, you'll have the created version of the player that you created. So rookie classes, the new team jerseys, arenas, logo changes, parks, My Team rewards during the season, and additional story content. So you only get that. You only get a week early access to that. Now, when we look at it, the rookie classes, jerseys, and arenas would be the only thing that are included in the season pass or as a separate option to buy. The reason why would be due to the resources that 2K would have to use to create the likeness of these new rookie players and their specific moves that they use on the court, and to replicate the new and retro arenas. That's why I would say you lock these kind of things behind the paywall, because you don't necessarily need them, right? Plus, the design team would have to go and create all these new jerseys. So the season one pass is something that you can buy separately. You can buy separately from the standard game itself, or you can get it with a premium edition of the game. But that would be locked behind that. And what it means is that for those who they want the new rookie classes, but they don't care about having the new jerseys or the retro arenas, they could buy the rookie classes individually, you know, for a couple bucks. I won't say $5 or $10, well, maybe $5, depending on how much content we really throwing in there. And like I said, this is all just a blueprint, just the start of everything. I'm putting down the foundation. Okay, so we could see them lock just those things behind the actual paywall. All right. Now, it doesn't mean that when somebody creates the rookie class themselves and then they upload it, that would be locked behind the paywall. I know some people would probably try to find a way to negate around it, like I create this rookie class and everything like that. But when somebody goes to download and say, OK, hey, this some of the people within this person's roster that they created are locked behind DLC, special content that you need. Would you like to purchase that? And you look at it and say, man, this is BS. Like I said, somebody can recreate all these people individually without the official 2K team's recreation. And you can get that one for free. But the one where they have to go back in the studio and they have to work on it, I don't see there being a problem with shelling out an extra $5 or $6, because the simple fact is that it is additional content that we would normally have to pay $60 for and get a whole new game for updated rosters, not updated rosters. Well, kind of sort of once the new game comes out, but updated rookie classes and this, that, and the other. So having that option to say, okay, well, I don't really want the rookie classes and everything. Or if you're a person who's going to play My Career, where the rookie classes might get randomized anyway, you might not want it at all. Or the ability to import the rookie classes that you just bought and downloaded from 2K would be an addition that would be pretty great, because now the new rookies that come in for real can be in your My Career, and you can like, oh yeah, I'm about to show this cat what it is, you know. So now when we look at that, things like the parks, rule changes, My Team rewards, these things will be available for free after the initial early access period. So for those who got the season one pass, then they'll get all that stuff early access. They'll get that access for a week. And like I said, you can do that with the season 2 pass, but the season 2 pass would have to have a smaller value because season 2 pass wouldn't. Well, I mean, you could probably stock it at the same value. We can discuss that in the comments. We'll discuss that in the comments. But by having those things available for free after the initial period, this will keep the player base from being separated because some people don't want to or just can't afford to spend more money past the initial asking price. Now, the VC prices, they'll stay the same. They'll stay where they are. And the reason why this, as a blueprint, would work is because post-launch content is the reason why sharks invest in the game beyond the initial price. Thus, in turn, the majority are able to play the game while just paying an entry fee. So if you knew that the VC you purchase would still be accessible for 3 years, the inclination to purchase VC around the community would actually go up. So more people in the community would buy VC because they would know that I'm gonna buy this VC now and this VC will still be good, over the next couple of years. Like I don't have to sit up here and force myself to buy shoes that I don't want to buy in the game because I don't want no VC. I don't want any VC left over when the new game comes out. Instead, you got people who would spend that extra money. So I'm gonna give you a perfect example. GTA is the prime example. The game is $60. After completing the story, you go online, GTA Online, it adds a whole nother layer, and it didn't start off that way. And once again, this is post-launch content that added more to it, added more missions, added more of even more of a story, added heists, added bigger, higher costly missions, and pretty soon about to add a casino. All this stuff that they're adding for free, and it's because the addition of shark cards. This is something that when people first saw it, when GTA came out on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, people feared that because they were like, oh, Rockstar is about to monetize and add microtransactions, lock all this content behind a paywall. Now the only thing people are complaining about is no single player story DLC. And that's still a valid complaint because they promised it, but they're making so much money just adding all this content. I guarantee you some of this online content was going to be content that was going to be in the story DLC. Like how much you want to bet that one of the story DLCs was going to be a bank robbery a casino robbery, good old Ocean's 11 kind of thing, right? Now, they continue to add free content for everybody. But check this out, because the sharks are paying big money to get this new free content quicker, they technically pay for it with their own money. So let's say that a new truck comes out or a new, like you can buy this new bunker. When the new bunkers came out, you had those who they was missing just a little bit of money. So they went and bought a shark card, spent $50 to buy the shark card just so that way they can buy this bunker. All right. And when they bought that bunker and everything like that, essentially what they did was they paid real money to buy the bunker. Now, some of you will look at this and say, well, that's stupid. It's not. They pay their money to enjoy the game the way they want to enjoy the game. And because of that, we, such as myself, I'm an average Joe. I can grind out in game to get that money because I'm not buying no shark cards. So I look at that and say that if 2K followed a similar formula with games as a service, we could see a game that lasts for at least 3 years while they work on a new one. Now, there's a couple of extra little things. These are snippets of extra pieces of information that I'm about to drop on y'all. If you got this far, first of all, I want to say thank you. You made it all the way to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. But there is a little piece of information I do got to leave you all with. This is just a formula. It's a formula that does have its flaws, but it's a starting point. And I know some of these things felt like I bounced all the way around the world with them. But if the 2K team were to build a product using this as a starting base or just as an idea and then see how they can break that idea apart and really focus it in, what we could see is, like I said, a new 2K every 3 years that feels refreshing, that feels like something new. Another thing that they could do because of this process would be to add a public test server. Like if you own a copy of the game, you have access to the public test server, and the public test server would be separate from the game because it'd be where they are able to try out new things that they want to add, whether it's new animations, whether it's a new gameplay scheme, whether it's a new game mechanic. They can try these things out separate of the neighborhood, of the community, and people wouldn't feel like this is being forced on them at the same time. Now, when it comes down to the VC, this is not something we're going to ever see go away. It's about how they execute it. So with this kind of plan, they don't need to increase the price of VC. They could even possibly down the line be able to lower VC, because if people are paying, for 250,000 VC and they're paying $50, there are a lot of people paying that, not the entire community. But think about it this way. If the entire community, if that's what their goal is, to get the entire community to pay an additional $50 for 250,000 VC, essentially when they drop this DLC, if you spent $30 on VC over the course of one season, because this game is going to be there and it's still going to be the same game the next season with some improvements, with some additions, it's still going to be, but you don't have to sit up here and pay another $60. Then already you done bought the DLC. So your investment in the game, and that's how a lot of these games as a service work. That's how most of them succeed. That's how all of them live. GTA, Rainbow Six Siege. Currently, Red Dead Redemption is trying to get there, but they got a long ways to go. They got to add more content, and once they get there, they'll be at that point. Even a free-to-play game like Fortnite, when you look at Fortnite, their success has allowed them to invest in the game development square and in the game development sphere in a whole nother level, where they're challenging Steam. Some people like it, some people don't. But all of that came from the money that Fortnite fans paid for skins and paid for emotes and everything like that. So I don't mind seeing VC continue through 2K, but it's about the execution on the pipeline, on the development plan. If we got a 2K that's spreading over a course of 3 years, that's a product that's worth the $60 or maybe even $100 for if you want to buy the season pass. And then when it comes down to the season 1 pass, you'll have additionally maybe 2 additional season passes. That season pass for season 2 could be a smaller reduction in price, because the simple fact is that you're spending, you might not get all this extra, but what it does is it means that everything that's locked behind the paywall could be accessible to you early. It's going to be accessible to all at one point, but it's just about being accessible early for you to, for if you want to really run through something and test something out. Or the episodes could be one of those things where it's accessible to all down the line, but if you got the season passes, it's accessible to you early. Now, like I said, people don't like the fact of seeing season passes come into games, but as long as this isn't a game where I'm buying a season pass and then next year they're coming out with another game, then there's a reason to complain. But I'm hoping you all enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, please. Thank you. Let me know down in the comments below, man. Let me know how you would feel if 2K made a 3-year planned game, a game that is going to only improve and get better. One of their biggest problems being the fact that they try to keep the game to a certain size when it comes down to it. Next iteration, we're hoping that they'll be able to kind of like go with the more freeform size, and because of cloud gaming, having the ability to play off of kind of pull data straight from their own servers a lot quicker. Little things that could improve the product and give it a 3-year life cycle. This your boy JuKIng the Boss. Like I said, let me know down below whether or not you want to see 2K take a plan similar to this, whether or not you'd make some adjustments. Let me know what adjustments you would make if you knew that you were building a product over 3 years. What would you add to it to keep players playing for 3 years while you work on the next one? Until then, man, I'm about to drop some more of this my career content for my two-way shot creator at the point guard. I've been at the park with my big dog, my two-way shot creator at the small forward. I know y'all probably like, man, why you didn't make a two-way anything else other than the shot creator at point? Because the shot creator is the GOAT. I'm trying to tell y'all. I'm going to catch y'all guys on the next one. I'm hoping you enjoy. Peace.